Hey guys, this is Dr. Cadell. I'll be teaching the Chem 102 course this summer, and this is a little video that will hopefully help you understand how the course is going to work. It's going to be entirely online, run through Canvas. So, log on to your Canvas shell, click on our course, and you should land on a page that looks something like this. Well, exactly like this, actually. Each of these sections here is a module. The first one, the syllabus module, has, information for you, the syllabus, the schedule, a periodic table for use, and a sample lab report. We'll look at all those in a minute. After that, there's a laboratory module, which has all the information on the labs that you'll need. And then after that, every module that comes after that is like a chapter in a textbook. It's one topic, so solutions is the first topic, and within each of these modules, there's usually two links with the same name, solution composition, solution composition. The first link, if you click on that, then open it up, it's a link to
This is the first module.
A video, the YouTube video that I made that is your lecture for that topic. Now, each of these lectures is, I try to keep them under about 10 minutes each. It's like one little chunk of information, one little topic. That's your lecture though, so you should treat it as a lecture, and that means, take really good notes. And if you don't understand something that I say in the lecture, let me know, or somehow figure it out, because it's probably important. If you don't know why I did something, I do a lot of sample calculations. So if you're not following what I'm doing in some of the steps, make sure you ask me. And I'll tell you how you can ask me stuff in a minute. Anyway, so after you watch that lecture, take your notes and everything. After that, there's a link with the same name. This is a quiz. It's a one-question, multiple-choice quiz. You get 2 attempts. Now, this is not closed book or anything like that. You're allowed to, use your notes, use your book. If you need it, you can talk to somebody about it. I'll help you with these if you need it. You have 2 attempts, so everybody should get all the points. Never happens, but everybody should. They look like this, so I'll show you the first quiz. So there's the first quiz. It's one question, multiple choice. Like I said, you get 2 attempts. You answer it, and these quizzes come from somewhere in the video that came right before the quiz in the module. So select your answer, click Submit Quiz. And I'm just going to pick a random answer. Hopefully it's not right. All right, so that's the right one. So you know it's right. It says 1 out of 1. If it was wrong, it'd say 0 out of 1. You'd still get one more attempt. And if you get it right at least one time, you get the point for that quiz. These quizzes do have due dates, so try to get them done by the due date. The due dates are there to help you with the exams. Okay, so the idea is to go through, where are they? Here we go. Lecture, video, lecture, quiz. Then there's worksheets that I have here. I have the keys for them too. These are worksheets they're like some more practice for you. Okay. In addition to, at the end of that module, there's always a homework link. So click on that, and don't worry what it says there. Just click on this, and that's your homework for the chapter, for the module. And I have the answers to each question at the end of each. Right. So these are really important, guys. The homework and the worksheets, probably slightly weighted more towards the homework than the worksheets, but some from both. They reinforce each other. So the worksheet, I have like a worksheet here, just for you to work on, has some questions, space for you to work it out. And then I have the key for that too, right after that. So it looks like this. So I would strongly urge you guys not to just go right to the key, but try to work it out yourself. If you can, you're going to learn so much better that way. Anyway, so what the worksheets and the homework are for are to help you get ready for the exams, because the questions on the exams are very, very similar to the homework. For the most part, the homework, to some extent, the worksheets, which I said they kind of reinforce each other. And I'll talk about the exams in a minute, but that, you guys, that's the very best thing you can do to succeed in this course, to get a good grade, is to really spend a lot of time understanding, not just memorizing the steps, but understanding how to work out the homework problems and the worksheets. So that's one chapter, and then each module after that's a different chapter. So that's how this is set up here. Now, the way the course works, let's look at the schedule. That's the next thing to do. That schedule's always here for you. This has the date, so we're scheduled for Thursdays, even though it's entirely online. That is important for you because your exams will be during the scheduled time, which I'll talk about in a minute. This is the first week. No exam, no lab, but absolutely, you guys should get started on that first module because it's not short. There's a lot of work to do. So I gave you a couple weeks to kind of get a running start, but look at this. After next week again. No exam. I'll talk about the labs here. We start the freezing point depression there. But then after that, we have an exam almost every week except for the week of July 2nd. And then, and that's pretty much it. Every other week there's an exam. Now, okay, so that's the schedule. And that's how this link right here is how you guys know, what we're going to be doing each week, what the exam is on, and so on. Now, each of the exams, it's on one chapter or one module at a time. So the first exam, that exam on solutions, it's only on the solutions module. So the questions will be very closely related to the homework and to some extent the worksheet problems. There's usually between 10 and 15 questions. On this first one, there will be 10 questions. Multiple choice, you take it on Canvas, and I'll talk about, you need Proctorio, you need a webcam and all that stuff. I'll talk about that. And there's 45 minutes to take each exam. So let's go look at the syllabus now. And we'll get to more about the exams in here. So, right here. So the exams are the time that you start the exam. It starts right at either 11:15 or 12:15, depending upon which section you're in. 4607 starts on Thursdays at 11:15, ends right at 12. 4605 starts right at 12:15, ends at 1. You'll be taking the exams on Canvas through Proctorio, which is an exam monitoring system. These are the final exam days and times. There's 90 minutes for the final exam. Final exam, by the way, is comprehensive. One more thing about these exams up here, guys. So the first exam, it's only questions on solutions. But the next exam, I think, is kinetics. Let's see. Kinetics. So on the kinetics exam, there's 10 questions. 8 or 9 will be from the kinetics module. 1 or 2 will be from solutions, though. So there's always 1 or 2 questions, you guys, from previous modules. The next exam, the one on equilibrium, 8 or 9 questions on equilibrium, 1 or 2 questions on either kinetics and or solutions, and so on. It keeps on going like that. So that's okay. So that's the exams. No extra credit, so please don't ask. So the textbook. Textbook is it's through OpenStax. It's online. You can buy a hard copy if you want to, I think through Amazon for $50 or something like that. However, the textbook is recommended rather than required because all the information you guys need is accessible to you through Canvas. Sometimes people want, more reading on a topic, and that's, textbook's good for that, or sometimes more practice problems, although I gave you plenty. And you can get homework problems in the book too. All right, so again, this is not required, but it's optional. If you want it, this link actually will take you to OpenStax, to the actual textbook. So in order to take this course, you are required to have a working webcam with this resolution, a working microphone, or reliable internet access, at least 0.244 megabits per second upload speed, 250 megabytes of free space, at least 2 gigabytes of free RAM. And you're going to want to check your system on your computer that you're going to use to take the exams, because just because you have 2 gigabytes of RAM installed doesn't mean that much is free. You have to have 2 gigs at least free. Pentium or better processor. If you use Windows, then Windows 7 Plus, Mac OS 10.11 Plus, or higher. Linux, Ubuntu 18.4 or higher. Chromebook, Chrome 55 or higher. So there's 10 exams throughout the summer. I have Canvas set up to automatically drop your lowest exam, so you're graded out of your highest 9 exam scores. That's a total of 60% of your grade. The final exam's worth 15% of your grade. Labs are 20%, and those online quizzes that I showed you, they're worth 5%. And this is the grading scale. Pretty much straightforward, except that I do drop a C down to 65%. If you get 65% of the points, or at the end, then you get a C, 65 to 79. This is important to you. The labs are a really important part of this course. If anybody does not turn in all of the labs, they will fail the course, regardless of your score and anything else in the on the exams and all that. So there will be up this week sometime a proctorial practice quiz or exam, whatever. And it's just like 3 questions that anybody can answer. What it does for you is it helps make sure that you are set up properly to use proctorial, because every single exam will be given with proctorial monitoring it, which means those requirements I listed above you will need. So once I get that practice quiz up on Canvas, if you do not take it within a week, then I will assume that you're not in the class. I'll drop you and give your spot to the next person on the list. If you do add the class, then you have 3 days once you add to take the exam. Otherwise, you'll get dropped, and I'll give your spot to the next person on the list. So, academic dishonesty. So, yes, we know about Chegg and Course Hero, all that stuff. And faculty and administrators monitor those websites. And if anybody uploads exam questions to those, or any of these sites at all, we work with those websites to identify those students. They'll be identified, get a dishonesty report, and you'll get a 0 for whatever the exam is. So don't do it. If you need DSPS, then we can work that out. Let me know. And we need to set up the times for the exam so that you end at the same time as the rest of the class. So for example, if you get double time, the exam's 45 minutes and the class starts at 11:15, that means you'll be starting at 10:30 so that you end at 12 o'clock, just like everybody else. No makeup exams. The quizzes, I told you about those. Now, real quick about those quizzes, guys. I have due dates. If you miss the due date, still do the quiz. Canvas will say it's late, but you can still get all the points for it. Okay. The dates are to help motivate you to get everything done in time for the exams. So, like I said, the exams will be given at the time that I have for your section at the beginning of the syllabus. Make sure you're logged onto Canvas ahead of time. Everything's set up. You're ready to go. 10 to 15 questions, multiple choice, based on homework problems, worksheets, etc. Discussion. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the discussion link. This is actually particularly for a course like this where it's entirely online. It's really important that you have some way of asking me questions. And chemistry questions are just extremely difficult to talk about through regular email or messages. So, but the discussion board now, that's a lot easier primarily because it has an equation editor. Because we use superscripts, subscripts, we use fractions, we use arrows, we use Greek symbols, a lot of other stuff in there that we need to use to talk intelligibly about chemistry. So use it. Now, a couple things, guys. Let me go back over there and come back here to lab work in a minute. So the discussion section, it's this link right over here. If you click on that, there aren't any discussions, but you have a question. A really good way to ask it is to click on plus discussion. Now give it a title. Please give it a title that makes sense. If you just say homework, that doesn't help anybody. Homework solutions module number 18, something like that. Ask your question in here. You see that little square root sign with the X underneath it? If you click on that, that is where all the good stuff is. That's the equation editor. So, fractions, superscripts, root signs, relationships, arrows, which we use, Greek letters, which we use, right? All that good stuff. So use that. Okay, it makes it so much easier. Now, and then click save, and I'll see the question and I'll answer it. Now, the only thing about this is sometimes people are a little bit hesitant because everybody can see that they asked that question. So if you want to, instead of asking the question on the discussion board, guys, what you can do is just click on the inbox, and that way you can send me a message that only I will see. And then and say, okay, so hey, I'm having a problem with solutions homework number 7. I did this, but I'm getting the wrong answer. Can you help me out? Sure, yes. What I do is I help you out on the discussion board, but I don't say who asked the question. I just post the information on the discussion board. So that's the discussion. It's a really important thing. Now let's go back to the syllabus here. So next is the lab work. So lab work's kind of funny for this course because it's all online. The way I've decided to do the labs is that I will be making a video for each of the experiments that shows me explaining the lab and performing the experiment. I have the first one done. I'll be making them as we go through the summer. I also will post in data for you guys to use. Everybody gets their own data. It'll be a file that I post on Canvas, and you look up your name and it tells you, what your data would be, that, just as if you collected it yourself during the experiment. And that you're going to use that to write up your lab report. The reason for the videos is that it makes, the idea hopefully is that it will be clear where those numbers came from if you watch the video. So really I try to keep them short, but definitely watch the video to see what's going on. And some of it's pretty cool stuff too. So to get your points for the lab, credit for the lab, you need to turn a lab report in, which I'll show you how to do. But a lab report consists of these parts: title, which is the name of this experiment; purpose, which is what you're trying to find out. Now, this isn't a huge essay right here. 1 or 2 sentences usually is sufficient. Procedure. Now, procedure, okay, so even though you're not going to actually perform it, you're going to write this procedure as if you were going to do the experiment, guys. And this is important. Listen to this. It has to be in only outline or flowchart form. I'll show you where you get this information in a minute, but it has to be in one of those 2 formats. Any other format's not acceptable. So I'll show you where you get the information. You're gonna write your procedure. You need a data table where you're gonna put the data that I give you into. The important thing about this data table, guys, is it has to include units for everything and labels for everything. So mass of the solid organic solvent, and then the number, then grams, and so on. Sometimes people put more than they're supposed to in the data table. Anything that you get from a calculation doesn't go here. That goes in the next section, calculation section. So you're also going to do calculations for each experiment. Important things to remember about the calculations are that you must show all of your work, units and sig figs. And you have to, format it properly. Use an equation editor. If you don't, I'll give you credit for the calculations. Then after that, and I have a sample here in a minute, I'll show you. After that comes a conclusion where I'll show you. I tell you exactly what I want in the conclusion for each lab. So if you click on this is just some silly nonsense lab that I made up. But it's an example of what I want a lab report to look like. So there's a form. That's what I mean by outline format. So numbers, letters, indentation, stuff like that. Subparts, data table like that, units. Okay, what it is, labels and units, unknown number, calculations. So even though I did it 3 times, show each time you do a calculation. Use an equation editor. And conclusion. Okay, so that's that. All right, so that's the lab reports. That also, I have a sample lab report here in the syllabus module. It's the same exact one I just showed you. So let's see, the labs, where you get the information for the labs. So I have the first video up, so it's this one right here. If you click on that, Open it up. It's a YouTube video. This one's less than 9 minutes. Okay, so that's the freezing point depression lab. Hey guys, this watch that. Maybe take some notes or so on, and then okay, you always go back and watch it later. Then here, this one that says freezing point depression. This is where you're going to get the information that you need to write up, your lab report, your procedure, and all that good stuff. Also, there's the submit assignment button, which we'll come back to. But if you click on this link right here, okay, this is my write-up. So I wrote all these labs. If you read this, you're not going to do all this, but this gives you, I made this one a numbered list. Sometimes I do paragraph format. You're going to take this information that's in here under my procedure, put it in your own words in an outline or flowchart format only. This is not an outline. This is a numbered list. That's different. I also tell you exactly what calculations to do and what to put in your conclusion. Say, do yourself a favor, guys. Right before you turn in your lab report, go back to this, read what I asked for you to put in your conclusion, and make sure that you put everything in there that I asked for. All right, so that's where you get that stuff. So now let's go back here. When you're ready to submit your assignment, so what you're going to do is you're going to type it up in whatever program you use, and then you have to export it as a PDF. Must be in PDF format. Once you've done that, you know where it is. Click Submit Assignment. Click Choose File down here. Let's see if I got something. Now some junk. Let's just go to the junk folder. See if I can find a PDF. Probably not. There it is. There we go. Okay, so there's the, this is some nonsense file. But once you do, click Submit Assignment, and it uploads it onto Canvas. And that's where I will grade it for you. So once it's submitted, now this dialog pops up over here. See this? What's nice about this is I always give you feedback when I grade your labs. So you'll see, you probably get a message as soon as I grade your lab report. Click on this. I recommend you do this. Now, don't click on this. I think this file is just on your computer. But see where it says View Feedback? Click on that. And this will show exactly what, I see. It'll have all the markups that I did for you. It'll have an explanation for why I had to take off any points if I did. So I really recommend that you guys do that. So that's the labs. Those are the exams. Let's see. There's the quizzes. Oh, back to the syllabus. Oh, we finished that, didn't we? So that's pretty much it, guys. So go ahead and get started on that first module. I'll be looking for questions on the discussion board or through the messages. And good luck.